All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books that are still probably tucked away in those cheap boxes that you can go and find and scour and scavenge and still grab for, again, for cheap amounts, because these are things that could still tie into some of the recent news, announcements, some things going on in the comic books, just some fun books for you to go out there and find that you might already have in your collection, but there's no harm in pulling an extra or two out of a cheap box just in case something were to happen. Thank you all for all the support here on the channel. I want to remind you guys that we do still have this giveaway going on for maybe another day or so. So make sure you go over to Stepford Wolf Comics and give her a follow on IG and comment on her post to get yourself entered in the giveaway for this original art, one of one, awesome Yoda cover here. Again, give you a better look at it. Awesome. So again, this is the last call for you guys. Last call. Thank you again for everyone. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. And if you want to see what books I have to talk about this week, it's not going to be a very long list. It might be a little bit of a quick one, but if you want to see what books I got for you, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. Okay, so here we go. Let's get it started here with our first book that's going to be tying into something happening in the comics right now. We're going to go over to Carnage, who was reunited with Marvel's most famous symbiote, and it could spell disaster. That's the headline. But basically, just a kind of quick recap here, in Carnage issue 7, we do find that Carnage has taken a bit of venom back into himself. If you've been reading the Carnage run, he's been taking out like villains and supervillains and basically sucking in their powers and working it into his symbiotes, power set, like with who did he get? Like Hydro Man and a couple others. So adding Venom, who ended up being the king, King in Black, I guess, at the end. I don't really remember that crazy Donny Cates run, but this could be interesting. This could take us down an interesting path with, again, Carnage bringing in a bit of venom into himself here. So I'll give you a little bit more here as they kind of close it in, that yes, he's going to be adapting more venom into himself, I guess. Now, he took this off of Malekith, who you guys remember from Thor 2. He was a bad guy, Thor 2. Doctor Who number 9, Christopher Eccleston, I believe, played him in the movie. But Malekith had this little bit of venom left in him still from when he had the Venom symbiote from back in that War of the Realms series. And that's what I want to go point out. You can go still find these big Marvel events. A lot of times you can still find the regular issues for pretty cheap and in those dollar boxes. So War of the Realms number 3 in particular, I'm sure you can find this out there for cheap. Like no one really cares about War of the Realms anymore. This isn't the New Agents of Atlas appearance or anything like that. Like, that's the only thing I think that came out of that miniseries that actually stuck or resonated with collectors, I guess. But the regular issue 3, I'm telling you, it's out there in those cheap boxes. But inside that book, you can see here how Malekith basically, took out Venom and took in a piece as he did this with, his sword here. So, yeah, kind of fun stuff. Again, this is not going to mean this means anything. This is just kind of a fun book for you guys to go out there and find that kind of ties into stuff that's going on right now, because this thing still sells for cheap, and I don't expect it to go up for more than this. Look at it. The whole 6-issue miniseries sold for $6.50 at auction. Like, this is not a pricey run, and like I said, I don't expect it to be. This is just kind of a fun thing for you guys to go and hunt and figure out. Start off with something a little bit of fun like this, and even if you want to buy one online, you can buy one for $1.13 or make an offer on it. Starting bid's $1.13, or make an offer or another starting bid at $3, $3.37, well under cover price. So definitely not an expensive book, and yeah, pretty fun cover. Kind of dig that with the Frost Giant there holding Thor and the whole team hiding behind the wall there. Yeah, pretty cool book. But kind of just also picking up on this kind of idea of digging in with Carnage here, we can also go back to another event that was also heavily printed and probably a lot of copies out there. And that's going to be Absolute Carnage. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there were tons of these out there. And this is the final issue, the last issue. And this is the issue where I'm just going to put this because this is where Eddie Brock, Venom, actually took out Carnage at the time. So Carnage kind of wants to get back to this place where he was like more overpowered. He was leading in the charge, bringing Null to the world and all that stuff. So he wants some of this power back. And that seems to be the angle, I guess, they're kind of directing themselves towards. And with taking that little piece of Venom in, maybe he starts to get there sooner rather than later. I don't know. But still, you're kind of curious. And when Carnage, Cletus Cassidy's Carnage was taken out, basically, it happened at the end of Absolute Carnage in that 5th issue. And again, very cheap books. This stuff, look, auction, sold for $1. Another auction, sold for 99 cents with one bid. And that had multiple issues and multiple comics in it, including the 1 in 25 for this book. So a 1 in 25 incentive variant, along with 2 other books, only garnered one 99-cent bid. That's what I'm talking about. Cheap stuff. You can find this stuff out there for cheap. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be more expensive in any way or like that. Just kind of fun stuff, interesting stories if you want to kind of tie in and catch up to what's going on in the current Carnage run. These are some books to look out for. And again, for cheap. That's what I'm talking about here. So I'm not telling you spec on this or go invest in this. This is just kind of for fun to add to your collection if you want to check out the story. And if you want to go search for one online, yeah, you can see asking prices there at the a little over cover price at $5.99, or you can see auctions with lots or it's starting at 99 cents, and who knows if anybody's even going to bid. So maybe get the whole run for just a couple of bucks, maybe $1 an issue, who knows. But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about here. Again, this is just for fun, a fun little scavenger hunt kind of thing. There's not a lot we have really going on. I mean, we got Black Panther coming soon, but other than that, there's not a lot of things driving the market right this minute. Specifically, I'm not going to go, you're not going to find like the Red Hulk ones and things like that, or the Scar books in the dollar bids. If you find them, absolutely go and get them. But those are the things that are really capturing the news cycle right now. And that's not going to be stuff you find in the dollar bins, So that's why I had to stretch into some of this stuff, like this story, which I found kind of interesting. This isn't news of things that's happening. This is more of an editorial story that I saw on CBR, where they were talking about Wolverine's forgotten brother. And to be fair, I did forget about him too. It's been so long, I forgot he had this brother. But John Howlett, I mean, he's James Howlett, so his brother John here. I mean, they're calling it a major Marvel plot hole and all. I mean, it is what it is. But he was mentioned in Origin. So if we go back to that Origin mini where we learned that Wolverine, a series I didn't think we needed. I liked Wolverine better when everything was a mystery. Just call him Logan. But once we learned his name was James Howlett and all the backstory that they try to provide there with Dog and the goddamn groundskeeper and all that stuff. Anyway, inside issue 2, we do see mention of this brother that was, before then, never mentioned before. So worked into the story. John Howlett. It was mentioned and noted in the form of, a tombstone, because he had already passed. Like at the start of the story, he had passed. And it looks like it was powered as well. Probably a mutant, but in this, you can see he didn't last all long. He died at 12, like a young boy, just like Wolverine was at this time. So he also passed young. But this book, you can find these out there. No, Origin's not hard to find. I know, granted, you'll see Origin 2 a lot more. You'll see Origin 1, but look, these still don't sell for that much. 99 cents at auction with one bid. These things are ending at, there's one that sold for $5. I mean, so $1 to $5 is really all you're looking at for this. And that's including like the variant, the Joe Quesada variant there in the middle, which I don't believe was an incentive. It's just, a variant cover for something different. Though I do really like this cover, the close-up of the claws, popping for the, realistically, for the first time. That said, moving on to what the asking prices are, you can see here again, there's a bid down on this one. It's at $1.25 already, and then you can buy one outright for $4. So it's a cheap book. It's just stuff, like I said, I'm tying into some stories, some interesting stuff, and this is only a mention. It's not even the first appearance of a character, so I'm not even going to say that. You're just seeing a tombstone with the name. And granted, if you want to really see the character brought back into the universe, I guess, when we get a little bit more of this story of him being his brother, you're gonna have to go look at that Wolverine the end, but that's not really in Marvel continuity, so even this doesn't really count either. So the character in and of itself isn't really part of the Marvel universe proper, per se, outside of a memory and a tombstone. But in Wolverine the end, issue 2, we do get introduced to this character here, this behind the scenes, somebody who's kind of pushing Wolverine to the edge, kind of trying to take him out. This ghostly figure with power. We don't know anything about it. No announcement here, but this is the character. This is actually his brother. And we'll get into that later and find that out at the end of this run. Not to spoil this old mini, but issue 2 is where he kind of pops up there for the first time, though. And you can see that. I don't know why I found 2 lots that were just 2 to 6. Like they couldn't find issue 1. It's not like issue 1 sells for a lot. Like that's a hard to find book or an expensive book. Just for whatever reason, I found 2 lots from issues 2 through 6 selling for $4 and $8. Just to give you an idea. So I couldn't even find individual issues of issue 2 that sold. It's just partial lots that I could find. And then you can see 99 cents starting bids, 1 penny starting bid with no bids yet. Or you can buy the whole 6 issue set for $20 or so. Yeah, again, not expensive stuff. This is stuff you can go find out there. And that's why I'm telling you, because it's probably in those cheap boxes. And I'm just giving you some context around maybe why you might consider grabbing it. I'm not even telling you you definitely should. I'm just saying if you're mildly interested in this, yeah, grab it for $1 and check it out. But that said, the big story reveal didn't happen until the last issue. So at the very least, maybe you just want to read this through this last issue because it's kind of fun. So there we go. I mean, you're seeing the character on the front, but we still don't know who he is really at this time. I forget what he went by. It was like I can't remember what the character went by. We got to start with an R. Anyway, I'm sure you guys, when we do the live chat in like 2 hours tonight, later on tonight, you guys will tell me what his name was. I can't remember for whatever reason. But here's his brother, who's actually named John, and we see that there Logan kills him, and then he finds out, oh, little brother, how much he, that he loves him. So, I mean, yeah, it's a touching moment between the two, and Wolverine kills him, not knowing that he was his brother. So he killed him before he learned that he killed his own brother. So, yeah, some tragic stuff there. But that's the reveal that you get there at the end of issue 6. And just like issue 2, not expensive. You see, you can buy the whole lot. But I did find one issue 6 that sold for $10 for some reason, free shipping. But then issues 1 through 6, the whole series sold for $7. I don't know. It's cheap, as I said. $7 for the individual issue, but the whole 6-issue run also could be found for $8 or $12. Yeah. Cheap stuff. Like I said, find it in the dollar bins. And if you're curious, go check it out. Now, we're going to shift back over to the comics again with actual things spinning out of the comics and go to that Wakanda #1. So it looks like they're bringing back, I know they're saying a forgotten Black Panther villain, but yeah, they're bringing back, well, I guess technically a forgotten Black Panther villain, and a villain that has ties to Shuri in Shuri's run of Black Panther when she held the mantle. I guess with the movie coming out in a couple of weeks, it makes sense that they're going to be spotlighting some of this stuff, but here we go. So in Wakanda #1, starring Shuri, we do get, I guess, a reintroduction to this villain, Oyaku, if I'm saying her name right. Done in a lot of metal, looks very 90s, even though it didn't come out in the 90s. This still has just like a 90s design to me. But there you go. This Oyaku is the villain that we see returning, and she first appeared in an issue that's already a little bit pricey. So you keep an eye out for it still. It might be hard to find in those dollar bins, but keep an eye out for it. It's not the for Shuri, not for Shuri's Black Panther or anything like that, but issue 8 of her run on Black Panther is the first appearance of Oyaku, as well as Anika, is that her name? The trainer of all the Dora Milaje. I think she also first appears in this issue, and this issue also ties in with the like the Namor stuff with and the Atlanteans and all that. And I know they're not Atlantean in the movie coming up, but it's still, this book has been looked at for a while now because of those ties. You got the Dora Milaje connection because of the spin-off talk for Black Panther, and then the Namor stuff. So that this storyline in this issue has already seen some interest and has already probably been plucked out of most dollar bin, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep an eye out for it anyway. Because like I said, in this issue, this is where we're getting the first appearance of, Oyaku. So this is just another reason, another bite at the apple, if you will. So that's why I like books that have multiple things going for them, multiple first appearances. So this way, different things could cause this to gain interest. As I said, one time it was because of the Anika, the Dora Milaje trainer. Again, I could be saying these names completely wrong. It's just in text, and I'm doing my best to say what I think it phonetically sounds like. But that said, here's another reason to keep an eye out for this book. This villain returning to the current Marvel run of stories. So let's see what this thing sells for. If you do find it for $1, you did all right, because this thing can sell for like $20, $30. as you can see here. And the asking prices are kind of in that same range. Yes, there's one starting bid at $8, but the other ones, the buy it nows and best offers, are basically starting around 20 to 30 bucks. So it's like a $20 to $30 comic these days. So if you can find this, issue 8, it doesn't have a Campbell cover, so it's one that could have been easily left behind because it doesn't have that Campbell cover, because all of those, everybody grabs those out real fast because, it's Campbell. And those early Shuri as Black Panther appearances. Yeah, so this one still could be ignored and left behind. So keep an eye out for it for a couple of reasons. Now, we're going to shift on over to DC real quick. Don't got a lot for you for DC. And this is even a book we talked about before for another reason. I think we talked about it for this character's brother. But we're going to talk about it now for one of, Batgirl basically maybe getting her own Robin in the form of Maps Mizuguchi, if I'm saying her name right. But Maps there first appeared in, Gotham Academy. But this is what I'm talking. Here's the like the lead that they're kind of pointing towards in Batgirls issue 11, which I think is the most recent issue. Inside this story, you see Maps working with Cassandra Cain, and they got to enjoy each other's company and working with each other. So say maybe we can do this more often, or maybe we can do this again soon. So I think they're kind of leading towards that possibility that we may be getting a new Robin, because I think even when Maps was first created, they were kind of making her to be a Robin possibility, even for Bats, but now maybe it's going to be for Batgirl instead of for Batman. So who knows? But as I mentioned already, Gotham Academy 1 is going to be her first appearance right there on the cover. And she shows up right here at the start of the book as well, in the first panel with Olive there. But Maps is the one there on, stage right, stage left. You know what I'm talking about. It seems odd. Like, I don't know, do the stage directions of the left and right. I mean, my left, but anyway. That all said, you would think that this book would be super expensive by now. I mean, Gotham Academy's been around a while, and there's some variants that I like I've talked about before, but this thing still isn't all that expensive, and you might be able to find this in those cheap boxes, so keep an eye out. Look, somebody accepted a best offer on $3. Like, they didn't even pay $3. They made an offer for less than $3 recently. That was on October 15th, so it's only 5 days ago. And then a copy sold for like $11, which is more in the range I would have expected, which is still down. This was like a $15 to $20 book for a while, but $11 for best offer on $3 for recent sales. And asking price, yeah, there it is, $10. It's like a $10 book at least. And then there is a lot of, I think the first 13 issues of the Gotham Academy run, that starting bid is $10, but there's no bids yet. Don't know where it's going to end up, but still, that's the kind of range we're talking about here, folks. It's not expensive stuff. You might be able to find these in those cheap boxes. There's also a pink covered second print that you want to keep an eye out for too, because people like later printings, and it's just another version that you might be able to find. So it's just a fun little stuff, and who knows? Maybe she becomes popular enough as Batgirl's Robin that she gets promoted. But I mean, with Damian there, there's chances are slim of that. But yeah, she may become another character that just grows the Bat family even larger, because Jesus, there's dozens of characters by now I guess we can all tie into that are either former sidekicks or all that stuff. But moving away from DC, we are going to go shift over to some video game stuff, because I mentioned it multiple times. I like the video games and I like the video game comics. So we're going to go use this story as an excuse to look at some video game comics. Yeah, it really has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, the Splinter Cell, they're going to remake it, and the director of the game has left. Okay, well, I still think they'll probably remake the game, and if not, it's still a pretty solid game. I do enjoy playing that stealth kind of angle with Splinter Cell. But point of why I'm using this is because there are comic books that you can find out there. The first one being a mini comic. You also know I like these mini comics, and I probably should have put this thing in Hidden Gems instead of Dollar Bin Digging, because you're probably not going to find this out there. But yeah, you never know. You might find it out there. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Digging in the Ashes is the first Splinter Cell comic book. This is the first time they printed something in comic book form with these characters, Sam Fisher. And this is the one that you would, I guess, consider the first appearance. This was a free promotional comic that only came with the collector's edition of Splinter Cell Conviction. So only this version of the game did you get this little mini comic put in there. The story I was reading, that this was supposed to be a digital only comic, and they were going to put it on a USB and include it with the game, but then that kind of fell through, so then they decided to just print it. I don't know. Whatever the case, there is a printed version. It's a little mini comic that was packed in with this this video game, and you can see here right here. And all the stuff you get for free, a little art book and some stickers and decals and downloadable extras for the game and a steel book with some bullet holes in it. You get that comic book. Now, I looked, and all of the versions of the game I could find on for sale right now, none of them had the book included, which is why I didn't show them and showed this instead, because I couldn't find one that actually had it included. So maybe if you find a sealed copy, you can get the book that way. Because when I looked online for it, I couldn't find any sold or available for this. So I could even put this on Chasing Ghost for that reason. But just a fun little thing to keep an eye out for. This limited edition comic, mini comic that could be just buried in a box. So one of those things to keep an eye out for. But that said, if you can't find this little limited edition book, there was a 4-issue mini as well of comic books that you probably can find. And these aren't expensive really at this stage, but you know how some of these games go. The game gets popular and people start looking for the comic, and then the game gets talked about being adapted. Like I almost talked about Dead Space again because we had John Carpenter talking about how he wants to adapt Dead Space into a movie or something. So but I already talked about the Dead Space comics a couple of times. So that's what got me down this road and into Splinter Cell for some reason. But that all aside, the 4-issue mini was Splinter Cell Echoes with Dynamite. And again, there's 4 issues in this run. This is, cover for issue 1. And then we got issue 2 and 3 and 4. Just fun stuff. Just 4-issue mini. Not too hard to find. And, well, I mean, I don't know. It could be tough to find, but they're cheap. Regardless, they're cheap. $7. Look, then issue 1 sold for, and then the whole 4-issue set is sold for $15 to $20 recently. Asking prices, individual issues are only like $3 to $5 individually, and again, like $20 for all 4. So it's not a pricey set. If you find it in dollar bins, that's the better thing to do, and that's what I'm telling you to look for. So if you can find all 4, and it's $4, it's not a big investment. You tuck it away in a box, and you never know down the line if something happens with Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy. You never know. It could be adapted. It could be something at some point, and then you got it, because it's going to be hard to find. There's not a lot of options. So us as comic collectors, you know how we gravitate towards things once they get announced and they get optioned. Everybody, I want it. So just be ready. Be ready just in case by looking in the cheap boxes. I'm not telling you go buy this for $20 online to get the whole set. I'm saying go look in those dollar bins, $2 bins at most. Like I'm not saying invest in this thing. Just get it for fun and put it in that who knows box. Everybody's got a who knows box, right? Just that random stuff you think like, well, maybe something will happen. I just don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to throw it away. I can't really sell it, so I'm just going to save it for now. That box, put it there. That all said, that's all I got for you this week. I know it's a little bit of a shorter week, but like I said, the news was really focused in around Mephisto rumors and Harrison Ford being the Red Hulk and Scar, and it's already been covered. It's been well covered, so I don't want to do it again. So here we go. That's all we got. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I appreciate all of you. Make sure you go over Stepford Wolf Comics IG, give her a follow. Make sure you comment on the post to get in on the giveaway, because I'll probably be running it sometime this weekend and announcing it on Monday's Hidden Gems. So if you want to find out if you won that Yoda book, here, I'll show it to you again. Yeah, this is going to be my last call for this. If you want this Yoda book, that's what you got to do. That's all you got to do. It's not a lot. And then we'll connect and I'll mail it to you, and it'll be your book, your one of a kind, one of one variant that is only yours. So, I mean, granted, I'm still trying to figure out a way to keep it for myself, but I think you guys would call me out for it. So it'll go to one of you. Don't worry. And that said, thank you. Hopefully you're still enjoying this stuff. I'm still having a hell of a lot of fun doing this. Go check out all the other shows I got here if you want to go with the back catalog, because most of this stuff is pretty evergreen. You don't have to worry about the market. And I mean, it'll tell you about the market, but it's all just ideas. I'm just trying to hand out ideas, books to familiarize you with. So if you come across them when you're out in the wild, you know what you're looking at. That's kind of that's the kind of the goal of why I do this. I like looking into this stuff as it is, and I like sharing this information with whoever wants to hear it. So if you are still enjoying it, let me know in the comments, and subscribe, tell your friends so we can keep growing the channel and start doing more giveaways. And I'll see you next time with some more content. All right, later.